Right, welcome to Mark Richard Game Reviews, and this is
James
from Norwich Richard Gamer. So, how you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. How yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Good.
Good.
Yeah. So, how did you come to sponsor this event?
I got in contact with the forum. I looked on their website and saw they were planning on hosting sort of a retro gaming event down here. So just got in contact to see if there's anything that they sort of wanted me to help out with. So just come down here, helped them out, lent a few consoles and that, and put this together really.
Brilliant. Okay, can play some Sega. So what's the reaction been so far from people about this?
I think it's been really good. Obviously, it's sort of a free event, which means that people can bring down their children, something to do in the holidays for free. It's quite good, I think, for the older people because they can actually beat their children at some of the older games, which seems to be going down quite well.
What's good is a lot of young kids are really getting into this as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be surprised really. The older games, obviously, the gameplay is a lot better in them than a lot of the newer games, and I think people really, given the opportunity, can actually appreciate that from it.
They can do, yeah. Like some Pac-Man. It's just great to see these games when they've aged really well, and even now they're still enjoyable to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said a minute ago, people kind of can actually get to see them. A lot of people probably wouldn't go out of their way to have a look for these games, would they? And when they're actually put in front of people, they realise that maybe the graphics aren't as great as the new games, but the gameplay is definitely there. And I think it's a testament to the games. I mean, if you look at the ones that people are really sort of staying on, it is the older games, maybe because they haven't played them, but just mainly because of the gameplay, I think.
The new ones are nice and they look great, but I think the old ones are definitely better the short form gameplay. Like if you've got to spare half an hour or 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, this game is it
Xeon
2. I don't know, I think the old ones are what they are. I mean, the new ones, next few years you get better graphics and so on, whereas these, they are what they are, and they're timeless. They just age pretty well, I think.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's one of the good things about the event is people can just come in here, like you said.
Yeah.
Spare half an hour maybe on the lunch break, and what they're doing is they're just picking up a game.
Yeah.
The controls are pretty basic.
Yeah.
They're pretty there, and you can just pick it up and have a fun half an hour, like you said.
Just pick up and play goodness.
Exactly. And obviously, games like this, the little arcade games, the quarter eaters as they were called in America. You can spend absolutely hours and hours on them. You never really get anywhere, but it's just all about the high score. And I think things like that really, the longevity of those games is brilliant.
That's the thing about the high score. It's coming back nowadays. Where for a long while it disappeared completely.
No, definitely. I mean, I think it's obviously, to be able to turn around to your friends and say that you're best. I mean, even sort of the Wii bowling now. Such a simple game. Pack-in title, and people, really took to it as soon as the Wii come out. And that's just going back to the grassroots level of good old-fashioned gaming.
Yeah.
Well, I used to cook. I used to cook like table food for that.
Like, yeah, we're going to go down.
Talk about your website, Norwich Retro Gaming. Tell us a bit about it.
Basically, the website was set up for retro gamers as a way to sort of, you know, find out reviews of old games maybe they haven't managed to play. Set up events such as this, and you know, just a place where people can meet and discuss, you know, old retro gaming. So I think it's you know, a really good way for people to stay in touch with these games that, you know, if we didn't have places like that, you know, might be forgotten.
Well, it's great because I find in life the chance of meeting someone who has like retro gaming and just a particular like is pretty rare. And be able to go to a website and meet like-minded people is brilliant.
Exactly.
And the forum's really picking up. I mean, every week I see lots of new posts, lots of new members.
No, definitely. I mean, I think especially if we can, you know, get people around the world involved, obviously, but definitely start to build a local community for retro gaming in Norwich and Norfolk. I think it'd be really, really good. Obviously, you know, that's quite a task, but I think events like this sort of, you know, really bring it to the public eye that, you know, there are places like this, and if it is something you're interested in, then you can definitely get involved in it.
Well, it's nice to go out there and actually talk about things and actually create events to get people together.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think, as I said, you know, maybe this will start making people realise that, you know, the old games maybe don't need to be left in a closet, don't need to be, you know, tucked under the bed as soon as the next console comes out. That in fact, you know, there's a lot of life still left in these games, and you know, maybe you don't have to rush out and buy the next best thing as soon as it comes out.
Well, that's part of the reason why there's been no talk of new consoles, because no one's really excited about it, and a lot of some of the big games coming out now are actually like downloadable games.
That's true. I mean, look at the Back to the Future trilogy. I don't know if you've seen that on the PlayStation Network.
I have actually. I've got it on the PC. Brilliant.
Is it really good?
It is brilliant.
Like I say, there's been a lot of hype about those sort of games, and I think, you know, I think it does come back to the argument again. You know, is it become style over substance with new games? Possibly it has. I don't know. You know, there are some good new titles, but you look at as well the massive franchises that have come out, and basically they've got a formula which obviously works on the newer systems, and you know, some of them have been fantastic. They have been really good, but you also get a lot of them that are selling millions and millions just because of the franchise. I mean, I'm not 100% sure of the difference between the next Call of Duty from the last one, but is it a franchise or?
It has become a franchise. I mean, the new one, I haven't even bothered getting it because, I mean, I've got World of War, and I just thought, other than the same engine but just with World War II theme, it was the same game virtually.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, obviously we had the franchises back in the day. You know, the Sonics and you know, the Crash Bandicoots even could probably be classed as retro now. But I think as long as, you know, people don't forget that these games are there and that they are playable, especially with sort of online emulation as well. Is I think, you know, we need to remember that, you know, these games are out there and they are still really good plays.
Plus, events like this help because people can actually go out there and actually see these games if they don't own the consoles themselves.
Exactly, and I think, you know, there's such a market for them on places like eBay and that. It's really not hard to pick up these consoles. I mean, you can get a Sega now with a few games for about a tenner.
That's what I like about the Sega consoles. It's so cheap now. I mean, a Sega Saturn you can pick up with a bunch of games under 30 quid, and a Dreamcast I've seen it go for like 20 quid.
Exactly, and you know, people don't have to go out and spend hundreds on a new Wii when there's, you know, a wealth of these games out there. But I mean, if you're a serious collector such as yourself, you know, obviously you can start paying some serious money for some very good games. But
the usual games, like let's say Sonic the Hedgehog, it's cheaper than actually downloading it, like buying the original cartridge.
It probably is. I mean, you can go out there and, like we said, you know, pick up a Mega Drive maybe for a tenner with a few games, and it's no really, you know, there's as much time to be and fun to be had on a Sega Mega Drive as there is any console, I think, if not more, probably.
Not just that, but they're well built. I mean, like the Xbox. I mean, I think nearly everyone at some point had a ring of death at some point.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, it sort of turns around and it does really emphasise the fact that, you know, these games, these consoles were really meant to be played as a games console. You know, they didn't have a Blu-ray player, they didn't have a Blu-ray player, they didn't have a DVD drive on them. They were standalone gaming consoles, and not only have the games stood the test of time, but so is the hardware, as you say. And I think that's brilliant. You know,
it was built for gaming. It was built to last like long gaming sessions.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at these consoles. These will be switched on for 3 weeks straight. So obviously, events on for 3 weeks. and you know, they'll once we're done with them and once the event's over, they'll get taken back, and they'll have hours and hours more fun played on them, you know, back at whoever owns them. So I think that really turns around and says, you know, the testament to them, you know, of how well built they were.
Just want to say it was nice meeting you. Thank you for the interview.
Cheers, buddy.
Right, cool.